Last week we looked at Hebrews 11, 1 to 4, and we'll summarize it using children's pictures here. So starting off, we were talking about how life could be full of dark turns and difficulties as we look down the road into the future. It can be kind of scary. We look ahead and all of the troubles that are going on right now. What does the future hold for us? And so here's a good picture that's talking about how this child does not like 8-hour road drives. And so you've got a gas station, a tire repair place in case you get a flat tire, and then you're on your way to the beach. So just talking about the journey. Some things that we fear bears, tigers that are smiling, and snakes. You really should fear tigers that are smiling. They're smiling for a reason. They see an easy dinner, I think. So we ought to fear these things. Maybe just the whole idea of drowning and just being afraid of going through peril, even like the Hebrews did, the audience of this book. And sometimes it makes us feel a little bit like this, a little bit all over the place, scatterbrained, concerned, scared, outside the lines. And so we did talk about Abel. And so in the times that are difficult, times that are a little scary, a little foreboding, looking to the future, take note of the story of Abel. And so here, remember, you got Adam and Eve, the first two humans on earth created in God's image, walking with the Lord in the garden. And all is great and wonderful until the snake shows up, convinces them to eat from the tree, the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. And so you have their house, and then you have Satan shows up, or in this case, it's spelled Satan. And then they fell, and they're removed from the garden. Then you have Cain and Abel, the first two sons, and God blesses them. They give back an offering to God, but there's a problem in that Abel's sacrifice was accepted, whereas Cain's was not, and you could tell which one's Cain because of the thunder and the lightning bolt about to strike him. So Abel's offering was offered in faith, and then Cain's was not. There's a heart issue here. Abel recognized that all things are from God, and that Abel was able to give generously back to God as a thanksgiving offering, where Cain was conditional. He wanted to impress God, as we see later on in Genesis 4. And so this didn't end well. It ends up that Cain takes Abel out. Here he uses a club. Here he uses a gun. And so we don't know exactly how it happened, but nonetheless, it was a very sad thing. Yet that's not the end of the story. That's not the end of Abel's life. And that Abel's faith still speaks to us today. And we see a man full of faith and love who is willing to give everything to God, everything that he owned. We have this resonating picture of a man who gave his all to the Lord. And that's something we can learn from today. And so here's a really great picture. And so you could see whether it's the virus or the riot. At the bottom, this child writes, "I believe God will get us through this." Amen, right? That's great. Because we go through trials of different types, and it's important to know that no matter what happens, that God will get us through. Because God is in control. He is with us. He is near to us. In spite of our sin, in spite of our sickness, that He's right there with us. He loves us. He cares. And so when difficulty comes, when fear comes, do not shrink back. Have faith. Punch the bear in the face.